Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the instant reaction, and this is the Cardiff City one where we got battered 3-0 and didn't really turn up for most of the game. Exhausting doing these, I'm not going to lie, talking about this kind of football, but we are here again, and we'll try and put a smile on our faces. Mick and Tom are with me for this one. Like I said, just in a quick instant, we're back Sunday evening for the full review of the show, Mick. But 3-0, the frustrating thing is, and the only thing is, that's probably a fair result in the end. I think they were certainly second half wise, they were certainly 3 goals better than us.
Second half, there were streets in front of us. I thought they were very, very poor in first half, to be quite honest, as were we. But second half, they were miles in front, miles ahead. So a very, very disappointing performance overall. Really disappointing.
I'm going to try and put a minor positive spin on it, Tom, because if we don't try and put minor positive things on it, then we'll get very unhappy very quickly. But for the first 42 minutes until they scored, I thought it was an okay performance, an okay away performance. I thought we kept them at arm's length. We were limited to basically no chances. We moved the ball forward, not quickly enough, but we tried to get forward as opportunities as well as we could. Gore played well. I thought other players impacted the game reasonably well. So that's my positive spin. Are you buying that?
It still wasn't fantastic, was it? It wasn't. No. It was an away performance where you kind of set up not to concede, and then as soon as you do concede, the plan kind of goes out the window. And there were points in that first half where you thought we could have done a lot better. I mean, there was that one chance where Hugo dummied it to nobody. When he could have laid Hall in. As you say, I thought Gore had an impressive 45. But overall, it was just, really, really, really poor, really poor. And we were kind of talking about it, but there seems to be a real lack of intensity and work ethic and sort of desire in that 11. And whether that's something that didn't happen on the day or, it was something that we've seen for years now, which I kind of hoped would have changed, but no, it was an increase. How okay the first half was, how bad the second half was, it doesn't even matter. Yeah. Just as to reiterate, Mick, just so disappointed.
Yeah, it is, Mick. And when you set up in the way I've just mentioned, Mick, and you try to stay in the game and you're trying to hit teams on the break, you can't concede a soft corner like that. That's basic. If you're going to play that way, which is a fine way to play, you have to defend set pieces. And to be fair, they almost scored early on from another corner, which was badly defended. It's basics again, and I feel like we're talking about basics at Stevenage and at times against Port Vale. It's a basic thing. You have to defend set pieces better than that.
You do. And Reece James has not even gone with his man, let alone lost him. He's not even bothered going with him. But you also have to question why Reece James is marquee tallest man on pitch. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I'm sure there must be some reasoning behind it. I don't know what that could possibly be. But he made no real effort to stop him going for ball. It was a really, really poorly defended corner. It's a gift of a goal, essentially. We've gifted him that first goal.
On the stroke of half time as well. Worst time to concede.
Yeah. It was very, very poor. And they've got to learn from that. You would have hoped and thought that defensively against set pieces we would have been a lot better. Maybe we will as the season progresses. I don't know, but that was really poor defending from Reece James. I don't think Reece James had a very good game today overall. He misplaced passes. I just think he was quite poor today. But that sort of kind of put the tin hats on it. That defending from that corner.
Yeah, there's quite a lot to talk about when it was a bad performance. So we'll try and run through as much as we can inside around 10 minutes that we have. But the second goal comes just after half time, Tom, and when they scored the first, you felt like the writing was on the wall, but the second one kind of confirmed it was a good finish. But the build-up's just an okay bit of play, solid bit of play from Cardiff, but it's stoppable. It's so stoppable.
Yeah, look, Cardiff won 3-0 and they deserved it, but they didn't blow us away. And they didn't have to. They didn't get out of first gear, and they never had to. And that is so unlike what you want in a team, because if a team's going to beat you, fair enough, but make them work for it, make them work hard. But that second goal was, like you say, a good finish, but he had what felt like 5 seconds in the box to decide where he wanted to place it, how he wanted to place it. He just had so much time to lay it off and then wrap his foot round it that, it was, you could sort of see it coming a mile off. And I don't know if, it just leads back into this intensity thing and work ethic. And, there's, the nearest player was 5 yards away, who was Yearwood, who was marking another man, didn't track, he didn't get tracked, he didn't get pressed. It was just, in your own box is criminal, and you deserve to concede from it. As you say, really lovely finish, but you give professional footballers that time and space. They do a lot of impressive stuff. So it's just, the lack of intensity is scary. It just feels like they weren't bothered. It just felt like they weren't bothered, which is just really, really disappointing again to see as a fan.
Yeah, it is. We'll touch on the third goal, Mick. I feel it's one of those goals where there's not much to say on it, to be honest with you, other than it's bad. It was bad from Sean Raggett. It was bad from Zach Jules and Reece James. Cam Dawson's been hung out to dry. It's just a bad goal to concede. Colwell couldn't believe his luck when he popped in that back post. He couldn't believe his luck that he could score one goal.
I mean, yeah, I'm under strict instructions. I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to say what I actually think. I mean, Raggett might as well just put it straight back at net, hasn't he? I know. What point?
Yeah.
And to be fair, he'd have probably missed, so it would have been a better option.
Yeah.
God. It was a shocking ball across defence. Jules has got to do better with it. Absolutely, has got to do better with it. James has got to do better with it. I mean, it's just a comedy of errors. We shouldn't be in that position. We shouldn't be putting ourselves in that position. And ultimately, the cause of it, the initial cause of it, was that dreadful ball across a dangerous area by Raggett. I'm sorry, but it was. Other people have got to take their share of responsibility for that. Yeah. But like I said, it was awful. And when you actually boil it down, for all their dominance in that second half, had we not gifted them 2 goals, they would have probably got 2 more anyway.
Yeah,
because of our lack of any impact that we made on the game. However, we've gifted them 2 goals. We've given them, and we can't do that. You can't do that in any league, but against a team that have just come down from Championship, who can play a little bit of football, as they proved in second half. They tried it first half and it just failed miserably. But in the second half, they played some really nice football. But we let them. We allowed them to. Those probably last 20 minutes of the game, if we touch the ball 2 or 3 times, that's it. We've got to improve. The intensity's got to come back into the game. We've got to move the ball quicker, but more importantly, we've got to keep the ball. And we are not keeping the ball at all.
No.
So he's got a lot of work to do. There's some good players in that team. There are some good players in this squad. There's no doubt about it. But he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I could really stats: 24% possession, 0.03 expected goals. That comes from the one shot, which was from Coletta in the second half. We normally ask for. I want to talk about another sponsor. We ask for man of the matches. So if you can think of somebody you want to give man of the match to, guys, put it in the comments. This is a difficult one. I think we all have one, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But again, quickly with performances, Tom. Jordan Hugill was the main man today. He wasn't the main man today, and that contributed to the problems. Though the way that Jordan Hugill played today contributed to the problems. There was a movement in the first half where he just needed one touch to play Denzel Hall in, and he let it run across him. Like you mentioned before, start recording a dummy to nobody. You have to lead the line better than that, and that adds a question mark to whether Hugill can do what we want him to do this season, because that was a very, very bad performance for everybody. But I thought particularly Hugill today was one of the worst performers.
Yeah, and I hate pass accuracy because you don't want to be a Russell Martin team, but it was somewhere where like 60% in the first half, and if every other pass that you're making goes astray, then you're not keeping the ball in the slightest. You're You're not holding it. You're not giving yourself time. You're not giving yourself a break. You're not giving yourself any time to recuperate. It's just, again, you're just defending again and again and again. And part of being that vocal point is holding the ball, making sure that players can move up the pitch, keeping it. But some of his touches were, most of the time his second touch was a throw into the other team, because it was ricocheted, 50-50s. He'd lost. There was a couple of times where he was unchallenged in the air, and rather than try and take it down, he tried to flick it to no one, but would miss the ball. And to me, it was a quintessential poor vocal performance of a team. And his confidence must be rock bottom, because as a footballer, he just looked like he'd never seen a ball. He looked like he'd never played with it. He looked like how you'd expect Atete to have played against Port Vale. He just looked like he had no clue. He'd not played football in 6 months and not played with that team ever. So when you needed him, he wasn't there. And that's not to say, all the blame goes to him. But as a vocal point, you sometimes you rely on that player too much. And when they're having a bad game, as Jordan Hugill did, it's detrimental to the rest of the team. And because of that poor performance, it was kind of set the benchmark, didn't it? And we didn't. There were no better performances in there, I'll tell you that.
No, there weren't. Yeah, it was just, and I think we've said in the past few weeks that Jordan Hugill hasn't had the service. That game was crying out for Jordan Hugill, a good Jordan Hugill. Hold your ball up well. He got, how many balls did he get into him? He got loads into him where he had the opportunity to hold it up and move it off. That was a game designed for Jordan Hugill, and he didn't perform that. Whereas I think Stevenage and Port Vale's maybe less so on him. I thought this was on Jordan Hugill in terms of himself as a performance. But there are other people that we are going to talk about Sunday evening. It's not singling one man out, but well, it is actually. Man of the matches. The only one I can think of, Mick, is Dan Gore. I thought he had a really good 45 minutes, and he was constantly trying to win the ball back in the second half. He didn't do it because he couldn't, but Dan Gore was decent.
Yeah, I think he's probably arguably the only one really to come out of the game with any credit. Yeah, he did get stuck in. He got some decent challenges in, and it was the only one probably of our 11 on the pitch that actually impacted the game in any way. Coletta obviously did when he came on, and he looked really, really promising, that lad. So we'll have to see how that pans out. But yeah, I can't really see past Dan Gore, to be honest, the man of that match. It's tough, though, isn't it?
It's tough. It is really tough. Anybody, Tom?
I thought Martha had a decent 20-minute spell where he looked kind of promising, but no, it has to be Dan Gore, because when things were going bad, I spoke about that intensity before. He was the only one that showed any kind of real energy and intensity and wanting to close down and wanting to make something happen. He was a bit like, if Joe Powell's not having a good game, you can expect him to run about and put himself about a bit, and that's sort of what you got from Gore. But yeah, I don't think any of them were any good, really. I thought Agbear was decent as well before he came off. Hopefully not too badly injured. He was as you'd expect from him now, which is a bit mental to say, but yeah, those two were the only real ones that I thought proved themselves alongside Coletta. But again, that was a pretty ropey 45 minutes for him to be introduced in.
Yeah, well, anything else, lads?
No. Thinking about it for a bit, because I've had enough.
Thank God for no midweek game, I think is the best thing I can say.
Yeah, so first of all, please do give us your man of match if you can think of one. Please do subscribe if you haven't done already. Give this video a thumbs up as well. If you've got any other comments that you want to put in there, put in the comments as well. We'll certainly have a look at those and reply as and when. Mick's right, let's go away, not think about it. Go and have a beer, go see your mates, go and have a nice takeaway, whatever you want to do on a Saturday. Go and stop thinking about football until Sunday evening, because we need you to talk to us about football then. But for the next 24 hours, so stop thinking about Rotherham United, because it's not worth the negativity in your life. And a hats off to those 300 or so people that travelled down to Cardiff and kind of have to think about it for the journey back. We will last be back Sunday evening for the review show. Until then, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all soon. As always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Up the Millers.